But look, there are some questions that have been posed, and very politely they've been posed in anticipation of my arrival, and I have them before me, so that's made things easier. And the first one comes from Arav Borad from South Brunswick High School. Are you around, Arad? Somewhere. Okay. And he asked a tricky question. How hard was it to get where you are? Well, it was Amtrak from Penn State. No, that's not what he said. And also, did your high school choices play into this? Look, folks, first of all, I'm going to tell you a secret, okay? A secret that, your parents and grandparents won't tell you. And that is, we baby boomers, we had it easy. We had it easy. They'll tell you, how tough things were, and, in their days they had to lick the pavement for breakfast, that sort of thing. But in fact, just as the baby boomers were leaving the education institutions all over the Western world, the economies boomed and jobs became readily available. I'll tell you how I got my first job in a law firm in Sydney. I spent a couple of years as a lawyer before I became a Foreign Service officer. And I'll tell you the process so you can compare it to today. I came home one day, there was a letter waiting for me from a big law firm in Sydney, and it said, "Dear Roland, please come and work for us." That doesn't happen anymore. But that's how, in the boomer days, things were pretty easy. So I'm not going to claim that, there was any some so special plan or any special strategy. I'm a boomer, and the boomers had it easy. Did your high school choices play into this? Look, I think the only choice really at high school that may then influence your future is whether you go down the STEM path or the humanities path. You can't really do both unless you're, a genius. Especially given the growth of these fields. But basically, that's the choice you need to make around high school, STEM or humanities. Okay. Spark Roy from Hopewell Valley Central High School. Hi. He asked, when you were ambassador for Laos, what moment reshaped how you think about diplomacy? Gosh, down to a nanosecond. Okay, so I'm going to try to keep it short, but I'll tell you a little story. Because it tells you something about diplomacy and some of the tensions in diplomacy. I was posted in Laos, and the Australian government was not happy with one aspect, many aspects, but one, in this particular instance, one aspect of Lao government policy. And that was, and this is 1994, so, quite a long time ago. And that aspect was the Lao were ignoring the HIV/AIDS crisis. And my job was to go to the health minister and change that perspective completely. So I go to see the health minister, our conversation was in French. I go see the health minister, and he said, "Monsieur l'ambassadeur," he said, in our country, we've counted, we have 7 cases of HIV/AIDS. So, and we have millions of cases of malaria. You do the math, what should we be focusing on? So I said to him, "Monsieur le Ministre, you may not realize this, but Laos is in the eye of the storm. The storm is raging all around you. In Thailand, in Vietnam, in China, in Cambodia. It will come to Laos. It will come to Laos, and your best tactic is to be ready for it." The fact that the donors provided something like 60% of the health ministry's budget meant that we had some influence. And the Lao did begin to change its policies and to recognize the reality of HIV/AIDS. And the fact that the vectors truck drivers, health, sex workers, etc., was part of Laos's issue. But as a diplomat, I wondered, was it really right that a foreigner should come and tell the government what to do in their own country? It's a hard question we're really sort of trying to push our values and our analysis onto them. I think in this case, I feel okay. I think we were right in this particular case, but it's an issue all the same. Okay, Martina Becerril. Martina Becerril, Radnor High School. For students interested in international law or global government, what skills are most important to develop? Read the newspapers. Read the newspapers. Not Facebook, not social media commentary. Read the New York Times. And I would have said in normal circumstances and the Washington Post, but I think read the New York Times. Get yourself a digital subscription, First, before you can do anything else, you need to load up on the premises, on the facts. Then you can deal with things. Thank you, everybody. I've really enjoyed it.